A Greek court has ordered the partial demolition of a Roma camp in a plush suburb of Athens. The camp has been home to a community of 300 Roma people for 4 decades. But the court says their properties lack planning permission and the government wants the prime real estate back. John Saropoulos reports.
The police were expected. The Roma held an all-night vigil around their camp with boys in the vanguard, rocks in hand. By late morning, they had cut off traffic on a major Athens thoroughfare. There are 66 shacks here, only 12 are condemned. But there's a broader issue. This camp is squatting on private land, next door to the National Mint. It is worth millions, and the owners want it back. But these Roma have been allowed to live here for decades. Now, authorities have offered them a disused army base, half an hour's drive outside the city and miles from the nearest village.
It is a kind of exile. People can't live there. We've seen the place. It's at the top of a mountain. There's no water or sewage pipes or electricity. On one side there's a cliff. If a child is killed, who will be responsible?
There are 2 other Roma camps near Athens, but this community says it is part of the city.
We want to be assimilated like everyone else, and for our children to learn to read and write. If you live in a ghetto, you can't do that.
The community fought hard to enroll its children in public schools, and it is dependent on this economy. The men glean a living working odd jobs and recycling metal, but locals say they steal and trample upon authority, and over 4 decades they've become increasingly isolated.
As this neighborhood prospered over the years, the Roma were gradually evicted from local housing, and they gathered here. Now they risk losing even this camp, as the government charges them thousands of euros in fines for these unlicensed shacks, and town planning authorities threaten to turf them out.
There's nowhere else in this neighborhood for them to go. The government is clawing back public land to sell at auction and pay down the national debt. Even if they are offered an alternative within the city, they'll struggle to keep a roof over their heads until they can move there. John Saropoulos, Al Jazeera, Athens.